What up, though? All praises go to the Most High, man. It's your boy Trill, man. Today, I feel inspired to talk about, the Tower of Babel, man. The Tower of Babel, it was in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? And, it was a situation where everybody was one, you know what I mean? Everybody, all the cultures, all humans was just one, humankind. It was just all human beings together. They all spoke the same language, they all had the same goals, all had the same agenda. And they built this super city, and they was making this big tall tower trying to get to heaven. And the story go that God confused them, created all type of languages and scattered them all over the earth, so they couldn't get to so they couldn't make the tower to heaven. You know what I mean? Nah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I ain't gonna lie. Maybe in some aspect, you know what I mean, I can say that the Most High might do that, for a humbling sense, a humbling purpose, you know what I mean? So people don't go outside of, him to do something so great, or, like a humility type of aspect. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I ain't gonna burp. I can't see my God doing that, man. I can't see my God, my definition of God, my interpretation of God doing that. You know what I mean? I feel like my God want us all to be one. No matter what color, no matter what race, no matter what culture you come from. Like, I feel like he want us to be one. And I feel like my God want us to be great. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. I ain't gonna lie. That's just my personal opinion. You feel me? But, like, in the same token, it's like we gotta understand that this divide and conquer tactic is tactics that, that worldly powers are still using to this day. You know what I mean? And they use these powers really to keep us down, to keep us on the lower level. You know what I mean? To keep us on the lower vibration. You know what I mean? Only reason it's a separation between black people and white people is to build hate and resentment in our heart, to keep that in there, to keep us heavy, because you got to release all that so you can ascend, so you can go up. You ain't going to be able to go up with a heavy heart. You know what I mean? You ain't going to be able to go to heaven with all this shit on your chest, man, flat out. So that's just my interpretation, you feel me? But it's like, we got to realize, man, a lot of these things that are used to separate us are just that. They just tools used to separate us. Like religion itself. Because when you read a lot of these books, they all saying the same stuff. They all got the same exact stuff in them. They even all got the same exact people in them, a lot of these books. So it's like the whole point of the religion factor is to put us in different groups, you know what I mean? To put us at odds with one another, you know what I mean? To make you feel like, oh, this book better than this book, and this book is more holy than this book. Or, no, God really speaking in this book. He ain't really speaking in that book. Like, come on, what you mean? They all supposed to be, and I don't feel like they are all supposed to be. I feel like they are. And they all did come from inspirations of the Most High. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of these books, in my personal opinion, I feel like these books done been tampered with a lot. I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel like niggas was putting the truth in there, and then they're like, hold up, man. This might be let's throw a little, you feel me? Let's put a little controversy in this bitch. You feel me? Let's make this a little interesting or something. Or let's put a little confusion in these books. You know what I'm saying? So, like I do with everything in the world, I take what resonate and I leave what don't, you feel me? And I ain't gonna lie, the Tower of Babel, it was one of those stories that really made me feel like when we all come together, We can do great things. We can damn near do impossible stuff. You know what I mean? And that's why they keep us separate. You know what I'm saying? Even think about the political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. So they make us think all our life, okay, Republicans is this way. You know, they for business and big corporations and people with money, and Democrats is for, you know, the blue collar families, you know, the people who don't have the most resources. They for the people, for the common man. But what's so crazy, when the party started off, it was the opposite. You feel me? It was the opposite. When you go to the beginning of history, or the beginning of American history, the Republicans were supposed to be for the common man and, you know, the people and all that. And the Democrats was for, you know, the businesses or whatever. So what's so crazy about that is it's just all getting you to feel like you got an option. You know what I mean? To feel like you have a choice and free will. But they all really be pushing the same agenda a lot of the time. And what's so crazy, the Democrats and the Republicans was all on the Epstein Island. You feel me? These niggas really fuck with each other. It's just like the prosecutor and the judge and the lawyer. You know, and the defense attorney, I say. You know what I mean? So the prosecutor, the judge, and the defense attorney all got a relationship. That's why you get certain defense attorneys, because they do have a good relationship with the judge. You know, maybe they went to the same school with their son, because, you know, most of the time judges are usually more seasoned in the, you know, judicial system. You know what I mean? That meaning they've been around longer. You know, that's how they have reached the title, you know, the status of judge most of the time. You know what I mean? But in some cases, you might have a super old, super well-renowned lawyer, you know, such as Jeffrey Feiger, who probably done been in there before a lot of judges, you know what I mean? So it's like, they all have a relationship, you know what I mean? That's the significance of getting a certain type of lawyer, you know what I mean? So he can use that relationship and leverage that relationship to your benefit, you know what I mean? So it's like, what we gotta realize is, they make you feel like they separate though. But all these niggas golfing together, all of them going to lunch together, all of them going to the same school recitals, all their kids go to the same school. So they really like a family for real. And that's how it is with a lot of these politicians, you know what I mean? That's how it is with a lot of factors, you know, in the world. That's how it is with a lot of these religions. A lot of the highest up people in these religions really be kicking it together. Y'all think the Pope ain't never went with, you know, the whoever the highest Muslim person is? Like, come on, man, the Pope go all around the world and be with these people. The president go all around the world and meet these people. These people all come together. So that's what we gotta realize. They only got us separated. They only making us feel separated. They only make us have resentment towards each other for the purpose of control and for the purpose to keep the power away from the people and keep the power in the hands of the select few. You know what I mean? We got to realize that. We got to understand that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is in reflection of the Tower of Babel story. You know what I mean? Like, make these people, you know, talk different, think different. You know what I mean? Because if they come together, they'll do some amazing stuff, man. They'll do some great stuff. They'll change the world. You know what I mean? Like, real talk. So, I love y'all, man. Good thoughts, good vibes in a minute.